It's after 7:40. Let's do this. Good evening, Hampton Roads. Good evening, Northeast North Carolina. My name is David Aldrich, Chief Meteorologist of WTKR News 3 Television, and you are watching First Warning Live, where we're talking about Hurricane Erin pulling away, but leaving the tidal and coastal flooding to continue. This is sponsored by Marco's Pizza. It's a special Thursday because if you've watched us before, we give away pizza. I mean, we give away lots of pizza, usually pizza for a year, and then throw in 10 extra people who get free pizza. We're doing that at the top of the hour, and I can't believe my computer all of a sudden decided to go back to sleep. So let me see if I can get back that up and running. But I do want to emphasize for you what we're going to continue to see over time, and that is the fact that this tidal flooding is an issue in places like that normally sees flooding. We're talking Larchmont, maybe some neighborhoods around Shore Drive at Chesapeake Bay. Right here in the Ghent neighborhood, we could usually have some issues here. So I just want to make sure that you're aware that this isn't necessarily going to be easy peasy, at least in the short term, especially since we're at high tide right now. 7 o'clock was high tide for specifically the Duck area, but it is high tide for, Sewell's Point at 9 o'clock tonight. So we've got some things I'm juggling here and some comments, but I just want to emphasize we're going to get through this. Last night I went 2 hours and 37 minutes from about midnight to 2:45 or so. Long time, and so my computer, which is maybe accounts for the late start, I had to reboot it all. That's all. So no harm, no foul. But the coastal flood warning is for the fact that you could have 1 to 3 feet of this coastal flooding. This could be an issue. And so we talked about this for several days. How far will the water come in? High tide this morning may have been not as bad as high tide this evening. So you might have a completely different experience. And I can illustrate what that looks like here by using the tide forecast. So you can see here, this is Sewell's Point. I'll take this full. So if you're watching us and you're in these areas, actually see, I'm not, for whatever reason, it doesn't want to switch gears for me over here, but hopefully we'll get this ironed out, maybe my capture here, but 5.9 for 9 o'clock tonight. It will still be a minor flooding event even on Friday, even though the sun is shining. The sun is shining brightly. We're still going to have some issues with nuisance flooding going into 9 o'clock on Saturday morning. It's the best I can do, given the fact that my computer is discombobulated. It's a little confused, given the fact I've had so much workings of it in the last 24 hours. But the tide forecast for Duck, North Carolina, it started at 7. It started about, say, 49 minutes ago. So if you're in the Outer Banks, you've got major flooding occurring right now, and it's very important that you don't drive into standing water. It's not good for you, it's not good for your vehicle, and it's really not good for a first responder that has to come get you and rescue you if you make that conscious decision. So it is all about making a good choice versus a bad choice. So a minor flooding will continue in around Duck, North Carolina at 7 a.m. Friday and 8 p.m. Friday. I hope that makes sense. Got some other comments that might be coming in. Listen to some of the last nights. We were getting some cool notes that were coming in. Maria, for example, I thought this was a good comment. She said, y'all are gawking at the waves by looking at the piers. You can look at the piers live cameras. You could do that, yeah. You don't have to put yourself in harm's way if, in fact, that's an issue. Some people say that's an issue, but we want to make sure you're safe anytime you got an approaching storm that is tropical in nature. All right, so come back here on this camera. We'll show you basically, this is what we're dealing with tonight. So we are highlighting 2 locations, Sewell's Point and Duck, for a reason, simply because it's going to be now at its high tide tonight, and we'll have to continue to watch this. Now, this is a picture that I took of our oceanfront from the Weather Center back on the 4th of July. And the reason I wanted to show it to you is just to give you some comparison. It was like oodles of umbrellas, right? There was hardly any place to put your towel. I mean, exaggerated, mind you, but it was a lot of people who were enjoying Independence Day on Virginia Beach. But if you looked at tonight, what do you notice? I mean, it looks very different. This is not the Chamber of Commerce picture, but given the fact that everybody in the country knows that we've been brushed by a hurricane, we didn't get hit directly, but we've been feeling the effects. This is the high tide situation that we're seeing, and it's taking away a lot of the beach. So just one of those situations that what choice do we have? We have to wait for this to pass, and that's why it can take a couple of days, going even into the weekend, where we're still dealing with a little bit of concern. So this is the beach now, but I just thought, well, hopefully you can remember this is what it looks like when it's in its glory, right? It looks a lot better on days where you have good weather and you have a holiday. So come back if you were here and you go back to school on Monday. We've had some people interviewed who said we were just trying to get our vacation time in. I get it. We have no control over that, but we are glad that you're here, and we hope that you'll come back when it does look like this. But right now, sadly, if you're just watching us, just joining us right now, it looks like this. That was 48 days ago, 4th of July. This is what it looks like today. So if I want to give you some give you some gusts right now. We've got 23 mile an hour gust at Virginia Beach. Norfolk's got 29, Chesapeake 21, Kill Devil Hills 18. So these are some of the wind gusts we're dealing with right now. But the peak ones, the high ones, the ones that were occurring around 2 o'clock in the morning when I was live streaming earlier today, we had a 53 mile an hour gust in Dare County at Cape Hatteras. We had a 49 mile an hour gust at Oregon Inlet. Of course, we still have had the ocean overwash and the conditions while that road is closed for good reason. You're going to need some time for it to recede. Nags Head, 47, and in Duck, they've had a 46 mile an hour gust. Closer up here in southeast Virginia, we had Virginia Beach. Cape Henry had a 44 mile an hour gust, as did the NAS Oceana, and then Norfolk International Airport 40, and the Chesapeake Bay Bridge Tunnel area of Norfolk, Virginia Beach, I should say, about 39. So we had some strong gusts today. Now we're more concerned about the tidal flooding, the coastal flooding, and the gusty winds. Let me check in with your comments. I'm doing my best to multitask. If I seem like I have brain drain, it's because I probably am living on adrenaline right now. I didn't get a whole lot of sleep, as many of you might not have either. But if you did get a lot of sleep, I'm glad you did, because it wasn't as big of a deal for some as some would have thought. Again, it was a coastal issue. There's no getting around that reality. Just checking in with your comments. Let me see if I could get a comment a little quicker by hitting refresh on my browser. But again, we're talking about the coastal flooding that's already underway, high tide right now around Duck, and will be peaking around 9 p.m. at Sewell's Point. So there's still some opportunity to see that continue to rise. All right, so if you have a comment, leave those notes for me, and I'll do my best to put them on the screen. Let's put this in here, and I'm just looking at comments that might be slowly popping in. If they're in, let me know, and we'll keep on moving. But here's the thing I want to mention about this forecast. Here's where Hurricane Erin is now. With winds of 100, it's still a Category 2 storm, gusts around 120, and it's moving northeast at 20. So this storm is continuing to move in the northeast direction. It's over 300 miles away now from Hatteras, but we still have gusts around 40 in some of the buoys, 43, a little bit closer to North Carolina. But if we zoom in a little bit tighter, our current wind speeds are gusting in Rodanthe at 35 miles per hour and 18 in Kitty Hawk. So this is kind of where things are at the moment. 23 in Virginia Beach. Ocean temperatures obviously have been very warm for this storm to come and approach, but it is thankfully not going to be a direct hit, as we well know. But the winds are still kicking up a lot of surf. So really, what's to expect next? It's tidal flooding tonight. It's gusts 20 to 30 as far as the inland gusts. And coastal gusts could pick up 30 to 50 before it's finally said and done. And it's really the angry seas, the angry ocean with rough surf and rip currents that will continue to linger into the weekend. So the weekend's not going to be perfect, even though the sun's out. It may not be perfect for those who want to go swimming. You're going to still find some dangerous conditions with rip currents top of mind, even right into this upcoming weekend. What about the rain? Somebody described it, I think, on the radio, said, it was a rainless hurricane. I don't know if it was truly a rainless. I mean, there's some that most didn't get a lot of rain, but there's been a few showers today. Some of them now moving down from north to south. And if you look at it, to me, this is the front for sore eyes. This is the one I said, okay, well, thankfully we're going to get a front that's going to steer the center of circulation out to sea. And we didn't get much in terms of that. But I just find it interesting that some had some issues. I got some note from Tracy. She wants to know Virginia Beach this weekend, question mark. We're going to see a slow improvement for Virginia Beach, Tracy, but it's going to take a while. We got lots of sunshine. The humidity is going to be dropping later tonight. Overnight lows tonight will be in the upper 60s, so we've got a lot of cool weather coming our way. That's the benefit, I should say, all things considered. I got Tracy on here. I think I could put her on the screen. Yes. All right, so some of the other settings on my computer, just not all intact. But Tracy, good to see you. Thank you for being here. I got another note from, I guess it's Somos, wants to say, hi, thank you, rest soon. Yeah, many of us sometimes have, as I've said before, whether it may be triggered when you had a childhood experience or maybe you're a parent. Maybe you've had storm anxiety. Some people get that. And I understand that, because when I was 5 or 6, I shared the story. I had a little fear of lightning, thunder, kaboom, and suddenly it scares not only the cat, the dog, but sometimes it can scare your family members when they're very little. So when you have a lot of hype about a storm that's off the coast and you've never been through a hurricane, or maybe you have been through a hurricane, that can also cause you to think about old memories like an Isabel or an Irene or a Matthew, Thankfully, that was not the case here at all. Let's see here. Teresa's got a very good insight here. I live in the ocean. I live by the ocean, and it's kicking. Yeah, it's kicking. We saw that from the oceanfront camera, and a lot of that sand seems like right now it's getting covered by the big white waves. White caps out there are just coming on shore with a lot of energy. Meanwhile, as you can see, the enhanced satellite, this storm is now moving away. But it's not a picnic if you live in some of these low-lying areas here in Norfolk, maybe South Norfolk areas. Bainbridge Boulevard this morning had some issues. We're just looking at the fact that there's still going to be a continuation of coastal and tidal flooding this evening, just because we're not quite to 9 o'clock yet here in Norfolk. But 25-mile-an-hour gusts to Norfolk now, 24 in Manio, and as I mentioned, some of those buoys are still over the 35, even 43-mile-per-hour gusts. Up and down some of these areas are now about 26 in Hatteras. All right, I'm just checking to see how things are set up on my screen here. Forgive me if I'm resetting, but I'm going to come back on this camera just so I can get my settings and figure out which one is which. Some of my settings got moved, and that's no fun. Let me see if I can reset or reboot. Nope, it's not going to play with me, but we'll go back come back to this screen since at least you can see it. But as far as the rip currents, this is why our visitors from out of town probably are going, oh man, you mean I'm not going to get really good beach conditions for swimming till like next week? Yeah, that's sadly the truth. Because even though Friday and Saturday have good weather conditions with sunshine, I think you might consider Saturday as sun to clouds, but you're still going to have high rip current risks going into Friday and Saturday, which means you probably get your feet in the water, but you're probably not going to want to go past your shins or your kneecaps. But moderate rip current risk on Sunday, but Sunday is going to have its own challenges. There's another southern system that's going to bring in rain, particularly for North Carolina. So North Carolina, you have the best chance of some stronger storms, or not necessarily strong, but some rain will be coming up from the south and west of you, coming up from Wilmington and Wrightsville Beach. Here's the wind forecast for tonight. You can see by the time we hit daybreak tomorrow, here's 7, 8 o'clock, we're looking at winds that are less than 15 for many areas from the Albemarle to the inland North Carolina and inland Virginia, but you're still gusting about 24 with a northwest wind here by 8 a.m. Friday. By the time we hit midday, they pick up a bit. It's not gone to sleep. It's still breezy with the sun, almost full sunshine tomorrow. But then once you go into about 5 p.m., it's still a little bit breezy. Like I said, it's not perfect, but it's improving. And that word improving was the way I described Friday for everybody. Everybody's going to have better conditions tomorrow. Humidity will be down, and hopefully, maybe you're feeling better tomorrow, given the fact we'll be struggling to hit 80 in Virginia Beach. Hopefully that answers Tracy's question. We'll be struggling to get that high over time. I'm looking at the clock here. I'm going to go give some pizza winners here at 8:05, so bear with me. 8:05, I got a little bit of a late start, but this is the storm system pulling away. We have Hurricane Erin, no longer a factor. Really not much purpose to show this other than let you know it's not coming here. It's going to be going back into the colder waters of the Atlantic, and that's where she will rest. This storm, again, the tropical activity here is interesting to note because the National Hurricane Center is watching 3 particular areas. These are areas of interest that have the potential to form into a named storm. If we get something here, the red X here, this would be the letter F. The letter F, which has a name, and then a 30% chance here. We could have G. We could have G, I guess would be down here, and then H. So the question I will ask you, my friend and of course colleague Miles Henderson had this great trivia question. What is the next name on the hurricane list? How many of you know what that name is? If you know it, you can let me know. You can certainly let me know on the comments. I got a note from Kim, and she's on here. She says, hello, nice outside. I'm sure it's feeling better. Dew points have come down, and the temperature will be in the mid to upper 60s by daybreak. So that alone is probably very, very, very encouraging. But thank you for that update. I'm going to go ahead and give you the answer. It's this one. Now the big question is, how do you pronounce it? I have made a goof. I've made a goof at least 5, 6, 7, 8 times. I was calling him Ferdinand. Nope, that's not right, David. There's actually a pronunciation guide. I didn't look at the pronunciation guide this year when it got to Dexter or Erin, because I figured I knew how to pronounce that, but they pronounce this. You probably know some of the folks around. Of course it's not Ferdinand. It's Fernand. Fernand, like a county fair. Fernand is the actual correct pronunciation. So when we get that X marks the spot, that's a 70% chance, we're going to have Fernan, and then we're going to have Gabrielle and Umberto. I do know how that's pronounced by the Hurricane Center because we've had Umberto multiple times in my career, because they rotate these. They recycle these names typically every 6 years, unless, of course, it gets retired. And we know Helene was retired, Katrina was retired, so you're not going to see those names, but for Fernan, I'll get with it, Gabrielle and Umberto are the next 3 names on the list. And there's a lot of Hurricane Center left. This is typically the 10th of September, so the week, about 9 or 10 days after Labor Day this year. Labor Day is first day of September this year. It's very early, but we usually see a peak in the activity that goes on there. I show you this only because we had such a hot summer in terms of July and in terms of June. Both months gave us 12 90-degree days, but it was really the coupling of the high humidity that made it a very more taxing summer, all things considered. We hit 79 today. Go back to 1874. That's back when Ulysses S. Grant was president, a long time ago. Well, we haven't had that record broken. Obviously, it's still on the books. But 96 in Norfolk occurred on this date, the 21st of August. It was 96 degrees. All right, you know what time it is? This is a good time to stop and take a pause. Let me come back and reset, because I want to give you some pizza. Can I do that? Marcos has given me a great treat that I can give you free pizza if you won. And oftentimes what we haven't done is explain how do you do it, because one of the great things about Marcos is that if you don't win tonight, there's still a chance that you could win tomorrow, or the next day, or Thursdays. We do this every Thursday. But as long as you register and put your name in there, your address, because we have to mail you the certificate, you can win some free pizza. And there are 5, soon to be 6, participating contest locations. 3 of them are in Virginia Beach, 1 of them in Chesapeake, soon to be 2 in Chesapeake, and 1 in Norfolk. This one over here, I believe, will be opening up in September, and it's just a stone's throw away from Great Bridge Middle School. I knew I'd figure it out somewhere. Okay, so here we have my also favorite. If you are not a winner, you could still get nearly a half off your Pozzoli. If you want a Pozzoli, the pepperoni and sausage, my favorite, all you have to do is go to marcos.com and use the promo code WTKR David. It's very easy to use in the checkout line. That's another great thing. So let's get to the winners. I always like to come back on camera just to remind people, one of the fun things we like to do is we like to throw out some confetti. All right, the winner for the free Marcos Pizza for a year, and we'll get back to the weather, I assure you. But one of the things we want to announce is our friend, if she's watching, is Melissa Cosby of Suffolk. Oh, wow, Melissa, congratulations to you. You have just won pizza for a year, and if you're a little confused what that looks like, it's the fact that you're going to be getting this certificate in the mail, where you can actually, if you get it before August 31st, you'll be able to check off August. You'll get 12 months, but you'll be able to do them monthly with 1 large, 1-topping pizza, and you won't have to pay for it. How sweet is that? Marcos has been giving away free pizza with us since the 19th of May. I know they've been doing it many, many years before I came along. But one of the nice things is that this is one of the things we look forward to, is giving away free pizza for a year to at least 1 winner, usually on Thursday. So fear not, there's more winners. We got more winners to give, but Melissa Cosby is the winner this week, and congratulations to her. The pizza for 1 individual pizza. When I talk about these individual pizzas, I'm talking about the fact that we're going to be giving away individual pies with 1 topping. I didn't have space for the word 1 topping, but this is where we're giving. We're going to be giving away pizza for individuals, and we have 10 of them in no particular order, I might add. The first 2 are Candace Chappelle from Portsmouth. Congratulations, Candace. You and your friend Henry Smith. I don't know Henry. Okay, maybe you don't know Henry. These are randomly selected, mind you, but Henry lives in Hampton, and Candace lives in Portsmouth. So they are our winners, the number 1 and number 2. Drum roll, please. We got more to give here. This is number 3 and 4. This is Jenny Millington in Norfolk. Congratulations to you. And Joseph McFettridge, if I said that right, in Virginia Beach. Congratulations. You just won a free Marcos Pizza. The certificate will in fact be sent to you by U.S. Postal Service by mail. And once you get it, you can redeem it at those 5 particular stores that we were talking about just a moment ago. So keep an eye on that. Let's keep moving. We got a couple more to give you away. Lawrence Bird, I assume not to be confused with Larry Bird, basketball great from the Celtics. But Lawrenceburg, you just won a free pizza. You're in Virginia Beach. Regina Robinson, Chesapeake, congratulations. You just won one free large Marco's pizza with one topping, and I hope that you'll share. I always like to say, I hope you share. If you're sharing it, then everybody gets to participate, and everybody feels included. Sometimes that's a better way to go. We have also number 7 and number 8 on the screen. It is Sissy Mize. Gloucester just won a pizza. Now keep in mind, you have to come down to the stores that are participating, but the certificate is on its way to you. And we also have Raquel Flores in Virginia Beach. Very happy that you just won, and very happy that you're here. If you're watching us live, this is what we like to do on Thursdays. It's kind of like a pizza party for weather. And of course, now that the eye wall of this storm is not coming here, I think we can all breathe a sigh of relief and have some comfort food with some Marco's pizza. Now, we have a few more, 2 more to mention. This might be the hardest one to pronounce, I might add. But number 9 is Trina Washington. Trina Washington, congratulations to you. She's in Portsmouth. Great to have you here. And the Barnes family in Suffolk, another Suffolk winner. Barnes family in Suffolk must be thrilled, because if there's some sharing, you get like multiple slices in that pie, you could share it. I believe goes to Zadanya. I guess if I said that even remotely closely, I'm doing my best, but I appreciate you because you are a winner for this week. Individual pizza coming, and of course the pizza for a year going to Melissa Cosby. All right, is that enough? And the pizza, I mean, we're so happy to be able to give away free pizza. I'm a big fan of Marco's because they give back to the community, and if I'm not mistaken, they've just given back to you, because many of you probably don't even know that you've got a certificate headed your way. I like to be able to be one to announce it as we go time. Back to weather, though. It is now about 8:09 or just before. Norfolk highs, we hit 79 today. I find it interesting, not like it's anything in the record books, but we've hit 79 5 times this month. Today, we had like the 2nd of August, the 3rd of, we had a string of them. So very cool. I mean, the normal high this time of year is 86. And earlier in the month, it was a lot higher than that, but the coolness is certainly here. And we've only hit 90 twice in August. So the fact that that's pretty rare, I believe my notes keep it. Let's see here. The last time we had one time we had no 90-degree days, and that was in 1927 in Norfolk. I keep notes. There were 7 years we had 1 day, but there have been 5 years of 2 days. We're going to actually be in the 6-year club. That includes 1966, 1934, 1917, 1907, and 1886. We could probably put 225 in there, 2025, because I don't see any more 90s for the rest of this month. So it's not often you get this cool in the month of August. All right, got to keep moving. This is why I'm convinced we're not going to get much in the way of 90s, because the Climate Prediction Center has the entire Tennessee Valley, hello Knoxville, the entire state of North Carolina and Virginia, Hampton Roads, under 3 shades of blue. 3 shades of blue. Yes, there's 3, 1, 2, 3. There's 3 shades of extra coolness coming to a neighborhood near you from August 29th through September 4th. That includes Labor Day. So while we will see improving conditions over the next couple of days, we got to get through tonight's tidal flooding, and eventually we will see some cooler weather that some will say, yay, thrilled about the cooler weather. If you're on the call, would love to say hi to you. I got a note I love this. Anytime our viewers will say congratulations. I mean, let's face it, Portia Infinity didn't necessarily win pizza tonight, but she's wanting to say, hey, congratulations to those that did. Taj Brown is so excited. He's excited. I think he's on here. I didn't hit it fast enough. He's on here. There he is. He's right there. I love it. So he's excited. Maybe 3 stars for the pizza winners tonight. Who do I have on here? I agree. I think Fernan is maybe the best way to pronounce it, so we're going with that. Kim, let's see, I think it said Fernando. Yeah, that's the Billy Crystal. I'm thinking of Fernando Lamas, where you look marvelous, and it's not that. But if the storm stays out to sea, then it will be marvelous. I will remind you of that. And of course, we had a note from Tracy, who was wondering about Virginia Beach this weekend. We've already seen a lot of that ocean start to come over the beaches this evening, but a lot of that will recede over the next couple of days. It's not going to be perfect. It'll go from moderate to more minor the next 2 days, and then more of a nuisance, I think, by the time we reach the full weekend and it rounds out. All right, it's 8:10. I'm going to keep moving, but as far as keeping track at Norfolk, because it's an easy rain measurement from the Weather Service, we've now had about 1.6 inches of rain. We typically see just under 6. for the month. We had a trace today, very little yesterday. Obviously, it wasn't a big rainmaker or wasn't even a rain factor for the hurricane for us, at least in our region. Virginia Beach, 71 current temperature. It's 72 in Chesapeake. Hampton right now in the low 70s. We got 70 in Newport News and 70 in Jackson. Here's another look at this. I mean, I showed you at the top what 4th of July looked like, and it's kind of sad to see all of this. If it's approaching the boardwalk, right? It's not on the boardwalk, at least from my vantage point. We have a whole host of reporters that are strategically placed tonight. I encourage you to go to WTKR.com to find out the reports in your neighborhood. We've got John Hood, Kelsey Jones. We've got a lot of folks who are actively out and about during this event. So if you want to get the latest, go to our webpage. Erin is pulling away, but tidal and coastal flooding continues. Minor flooding this weekend still possible, and less humid with sunshine both Friday and Saturday. So that's where the headlines would take us. Now, when we look at this national scene, I like to show this when you have so many in this area are connected with or have been working with the military. You might have family that's near and far, from faraway places. So I'm going to zoom over here to where there's some severe weather. It looks like right on the border of South Dakota and Minnesota. Looks like we've got Big Stone and maybe Traverse counties. A tornado possible here. So there's a lot of severe weather breaking out in the far northern part of the country, the upper plain states, as it were. And there's also some severe weather just to the west of that, back in parts of Wyoming, just north of Casper. Looks like there's a series of severe weather thunderstorms here. Severe thunderstorm in Johnson County, and also a tag where it says a tornado is possible with some of these storms. So there's other parts of the country that have had it worse, maybe in the severity, than we've had, but the coastal flooding can obviously get a lot of people a bit nervous, especially if you live in a low-lying area. We want you to be safe and to plan accordingly. I'm going to zoom back out from this image just to give you another perspective. It's pretty dry from the Midwest, from Missouri, Illinois. Still some wet weather sliding across the deep south in New Orleans, maybe a few showers lingering in Houston, Texas. Corpus Christi, you can see over here, dealing with more rain. Also back toward Monroe, Louisiana. And if we slide further east toward Florida, there's some wet weather in parts of central sections of Florida, back toward Tampa and into the Atlanta, Georgia area. But really, there's not much going on here, right? It's kind of like we're seeing the showers and the storms come in from where they are raining, coming down from the north to south. So a lot of these storms from Roanoke are also moving in that southerly direction. All right, I'm going to keep moving because I want to kind of wrap up things. Low temperature today, because I take notes. Our low temperature this morning occurred this afternoon. It's an upside down day. The 72 occurred right around 5 o'clock this afternoon. Might be also our current temperature. That would not surprise me. But the 79 happened at 2:41 in the morning when I was saying goodbye on the live stream, because I had been on for over 2.5 hours. So 79 came early, and then once we got into the day, we really got flatlined and stayed in the 70s for the rest of the afternoon. Dew points are coming down. They were in the mid-70s yesterday. They've dropped 10 degrees. Do you realize when you go outside, it's actually 10 degrees less humid now than it was even a few hours ago? It's been dropping. There's the 10. I didn't just pull that number out of my head. I knew it was around 75. Now there's -10, -11 for Gloucester, -9, 9 or 10 in Suffolk, -9 in Ahoskie. So when we got up to about 72 or 3 today, that's where we were. We're now going to be hovering in that 60, 65 for a while. It seems like it'd be a good place to be. Projection would hold it around 64 for Saturday, which really is pleasant. Might come up a little bit on Monday, unpleasant, but then back to 62. That's when we're really going to usher in some cooler air once we get back to August 26 and beyond. So planning your week ahead, I suspect we're going to have that play out. Dew point temperatures are much tolerable, much cooler, even dropped in Hatteras because they were in the upper 70s, but they're back to 69, and back to the west, they're in the low to mid 60s. So things are looking good if you're not a fan of sticky weather. If you're not a fan, I can assure you, you've got some good days ahead of you. Currently, it's 68 in Richmond, 71 in Virginia Beach, 72 in Beckley. And if you look at the country as a whole, there may be some hot days clearly out west because there's triple digits in Phoenix and Vegas, and 94 in Dallas. But look at the coolness out here, right? The coolness that we see here is only going to get amplified heading into the next couple of days. So I want to show you this again. So we got this seared in our brain. We're going to get cooler to end the month and start the new month, but the 10-day forecast shows this beautifully. Put this into motion. Look at Canada. Look at the cool air. Where you see blue, it's cold enough to snow. It is cold enough to snow in parts of Canada where you see blue, but the yellowish green really comes down by the 27th. So that's why I'm very optimistic that you're going to have a kind of not a whimper, like the worst of summer's over. The worst of summer is over once we get past the effects of this particular storm named Erin. So once we get into the end of August, we get into Labor Day, September 1st, we're still going to be, I think, at a really good point in terms of temperature, and as far as comfort level, that comfort level will be going back up. Temperature trend 80 tomorrow if we're lucky, 83 for Saturday, 84 Sunday, the normal high is 86. And 87, probably the warmest day we have, will be on August the 25th, and that would put us maybe a degree above normal, but not much more than that. Rain chances look pretty minimal to me the next 2 days. I think we're just going to be still monitoring the coastal flooding as it will be receding slowly. But I have rain coming in on Sunday as a southern system. I think it's a 40% chance for areas in the Outer Banks and in northeast North Carolina. Mainly in North Carolina. There could be a few that squeeze into maybe Back Bay or into Chesapeake, but most of it's going to be confined to the Tar Heel State just based on the current track we see today. 20% chance on Monday, and then we dry out on Tuesday. Really don't see much going on as far as rain between now and tomorrow morning. It looks like a 10th. Like I said, they've been isolated little showers that have been coming down from the north. It is 8:16. Here's your Eastern Shore forecast. Torrential rain occurred here just a couple of days ago in the morning, but 80 in Bloxham, Onancock 80, 77 Cape Charles, mid-70s for Kill Devil Hills. And we're looking for a high rip current risk for Manio, 76 for Nags Head, and Rodanthe about 77, 79 for Ocracoke, and upper 70s for Hatteras. We've talked about the severe risk, scattered in yellow, isolated is green. Most of us, what we're going to continue to see is up to the far north, but one area in Tucson could get an isolated storm, reach severe limits, but the bulk of it has been up towards, say, Fargo or Aberdeen. We've seen some of these storms firing up with possible tornadoes between South Dakota and Minnesota, but really nothing to write home about here because things look quiet in terms of no severe weather anticipated. I mentioned that on Friday, Yuma could be added. Omaha, Minneapolis, Denver could have some isolated storms on Friday, but not much to see here. And last but not least, there's nothing to see on Saturday. We can keep on moving. That's the good news there. So let's just summarize it in as a whole here. So we're talking about the low temperatures tonight. This is what I love about the fact that we could dip into the 60s. The futurecast shows some of these little showers in green moving away by 7 a.m. tomorrow. So I think most of us are dealing with bright sunshine for the balance of the day. Maybe a few wispy cirrus clouds, that would be about it. Once we head into Saturday morning, there might be a little bit of hazy sun, but still the temperatures are going to be very comfortable. And by the time we hit 4 o'clock, I think we're going to find maybe a few extra clouds to round out the afternoon. Not much more than that. So tomorrow, to summarize, mid to upper 60s, Peninsula is about 67, 69 south side, and for tonight's lows about 69 for Norfolk, 61 for Melfa, and if you're in Cortland, about 62. Hertford, 66. We're still near 70, however, for Nags Head and Corolla for your overnight low temperature tonight. What about tomorrow afternoon? I think it's mostly sunny. We're around 80 for the peninsula. It's about 82 North Carolina. Another day to recover from the flooding, the coastal and tidal flooding that might still be ongoing where you are. 82 for Suffolk, 75 for Duck, 77 for Cape Charles, and a high around 80 in Newport News and 79 in Chesapeake. So here's your first warning, WTKR News 3 7-day forecast. So we're comfortable on Saturday. 40% chance of showers and storms on Sunday that will be coming up from the south and west, affecting most likely the Outer Banks. 20% chance Monday, and then I think we're really off to the races. Once we get the warm day on Monday, which is probably not a bad beach day, we'll be back in the mid-70s as we head into Thursday. I know it's a lot to take in, and I know if it's still kind of working through my camera adjustments, but we'll figure this out and have it ready to go next time. But I want to say thank you to all of you. I got a note from Portia, says hello, thank you, appreciate you watching. A little programming note, I will be off tomorrow, and I will be off from the television on Monday. So that means the next First Warning Live will be Tuesday, the 26th, and I'll be back to fill you in all the details of what I see coming down the road, but I am very appreciative of you. I got another note from Taj, or maybe it's the same one. I just love this. He's like, yes. Yeah, he's excited about the weekend. Maybe he's excited about the fact that there'll be a couple dry days Friday and Saturday for many of us across the region. And I got a follow-up note from Kim. She's excited. Congratulations to all the winners. Very happy that you participated. And don't forget, you can still sign up. It's not too late. We've got some winners that are going to be announced next week. I know we're only doing, because we do it Monday through Thursday. And since I'm off Monday, we've got just Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. But we'll be giving away more free pizzas for those who want to participate. All you have to do is sign up, WTKR.com/Marcos. You do not have to sign up if you've already signed up once, but we're excited about Marco's and the fact that they're giving away free pizza. You don't have to wait to be a winner. If you want to participate, just because Marco's loves weather, you can get a Pozzoli, which is like a Stromboli or a calzone, for $5. You'd spend probably twice or three times that at a drive-thru in most places. That's why it's one of my favorite items, and it's very filling, especially if you get the marinara sauce and the ranch dressing. It's fantastic. All you have to do is go to marcos.com, and when they ask you for the promo code, use our TV call letters, WTKR, and my first name, David. So that helps get you saves you some money. I love it. And if you're hungry for something like a Magnifico, which is the pizza on the right, they'll be able to help you out too. So we're very thankful for Marco's. And if it satisfies your appetite anytime, check them out. They are there. All right, just to recap, I appreciate this has been like an experiment for us. I say us and me. This is the whole platform that we call First Warning Live. Because now that we've had a storm, at least an approaching storm, it hopefully will be a good gut check that when that day comes, and it could be like 3 years from now, it could be 3 months, well, less than 3 months from now, because we're still in the heart of hurricane season. But at least now we can learn from these lessons. What are people doing? Do people follow or heed evacuation orders? Or are people still driving through standing water? I think the answer is yes, they still drive through the standing water and they still ignore evacuation orders. But that's why our neighborhoods are so important. That's why taking care of each other is so important. And I really hope that we will, as a group, take care of each other, because we are all that we have. Anyway, my name is David Aldrich. Make sure that it doesn't matter if the weather is sunny or if it's serious, and if there's a hurricane off the coast. It doesn't matter, because every day is a gift. Every day is a gift. So make the most of it in your neighborhood. We'll see you here next week. Take care.